Okay, this is Security Plus Lab 29. This is configuring mitigation controls. This is going to be basically we're applying mitigation techniques. We're securing an environment. So what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be deploying some experimental software from the lab files folder. So let's go ahead and log on here. And this is DC1 domain controller 1. We got a RT1 and MS1 also. And I guess I'm going to keep that off for now because normally those are spun up. So I'm not sure why those are off. Probably has something to do with the lab. Okay. View the 515 support security policy entry regarding software execution and create an organizational unit populated with computer accounts. Group policy objects can only be linked to organizational units, sites, and domain. Security policy developer servers will not have unapproved software installed. Along with other remediations, group policy app locker will be used to prohibit the execution of .exe files and Microsoft installer files located in the C lab files folder. For this activity, assume that the developer server is MS1. Okay, that's why it's off probably. Tools, Active Directory users and computers. And then we're going to go under 515support.com, creating a new organizational unit. We're going to name it Dev Department. Hit OK. And then we're going to go to select Computers OU. Right click on MS1. We could just move this to Dev Department. So now this is in Dev Department. Okay, so MS1 is now in the Dev Department. You can right click it and move it. You can just drag and drop. That's easier. Okay, create a group policy object to enforce the written security policy you reviewed previously. You'll configure App Locker and the required application identity service. All right, tools, group policy management. We're going to select the 515 support domain. Okay. Selecting the domain object. Okay. Right click on Dev Department OU. Create a new GPO in this domain and link it here. Okay. Lots of ways you can, it's very confusing. You have to follow this exactly correct. We're going to name the group policy object Dev Settings. I'm just going to type that in because, right? Because it's important to name it exactly correct. All right, select the Dev Department OU to display the Dev Settings GPO. Okay. Edit this. Right click, hit Edit. Browse the computer configuration policies, Windows settings, security settings, application control policies, App Locker note. Okay, so policies, Windows, security, application, control policies. App Locker. Okay. Expand App Locker. Select Windows Installer. Okay. Create default rules. Okay, so we're creating default rules. So now when you create default rules, it's going to populate with some default rules. And then we're going to select Windows Installer's rules, right click, and create new rule. So we're going to create a custom rule here. And we're going to fill in this value for the App Locker rule. So we're going to go ahead and hit next. action, deny, user group, everyone. And I'm just getting this from here. Condition, path, lab files. Next, exceptions, none. Okay. And then hit OK. Create. So now no one can install software in the lab files folder. That's basically what that does. Okay. Now we can go to write executable rules. Right click, create default rules, can populate default rules. Right click, create new rule. And we're going to go ahead, hit next. Deny everyone by path. Path is going to be lab files. No exceptions. Okay, so everyone's denied executing software from lab files. So you can't install into lab files, you can't execute into lab files. All right, pretty easy. Right click app blocker node, select properties. And then we're going to select check configured boxes to enforce the Windows installer rules. We're going to do configured rules, executable, and Windows installer. So we're going to apply those rules, the rules that we just made. We're going to apply those. You have to do that. Make sure you do that step. And then we're also going to apply to the system services node. Configure the application identity service to the automatic startup mode. Properties, automatic startup mode. All right, we're going to close Group Policy Management Editor. Now we're going to right click on Dev Settings GPO, save report. And we're going to save that to the desktop. And the script is going to tell us that that's at the desktop. Honestly, you can save any .htm file with that name, and the script will score it correctly. But, you know, what's the point of that? We're actually going to do this work. All right, so we've saved that. We're correct because we're awesome. In the group policy management, right-click the dev department OU. Select link to an existing group policy object. So dev department OU, right-click, link an existing group policy object, and we're select dev settings, I assume. Oh no, we're selecting 515 support local admin policy. Okay, so we're linking this to our local admin policy. It's interesting. And then what we're doing is we're selecting the 515 local admin policy. Go to settings and show all. Okay. Okay, so it's telling us user account Bobby is a member of the local admin security group. So the effect applying this policy to dev department is to make Bobby a local administrator on MS1. Despite this privilege, Bobby should not be able to install or run software in the lab files. So because we applied our dev settings, our dev department organizational unit, let me make sure I'm explaining this correctly. So since we linked our organizational unit dev department to the local admins, that means that all the settings, the rules that we created that apply to the dev department now apply to 515 support local admin. So since Bobby is a member of the 515 support local admin, Bobby's now affected by all the rules affecting dev department since they're linked. Okay, great. All right, so now we got to boot up MS1. So now we're going to test this, I think. We're going to probably log in as Bobby and then try and execute stuff from lab files or install things on lab files, I think. Haven't done this lab in a while. This is going to boot up. Oh yeah, we're logging as Bobby. So then we're going to open up PowerShell. We're going to display the results of our group policy objects or display the settings. And then we're probably going to mess around with lab files. So let's do that real quick. Okay. Open this up. I'm just going to go type in PowerShell here since I know they want us to look at PowerShell. Right click, run as administrator. Always want to run PowerShell as administrator. GP result space / uppercase R. Boom. Displays group policy results, group policy objects, 515 support domain policy, and dev settings. So we see those. Great. And we see dev settings listed in the computer section. Wonderful. Okay, so let's go to the lab files. Let's install some stuff. So let's go ahead. I'm going to install vcredit 64. I want to do it. Yeah. Come on, do it. Do it. Oh, it's doing it. Well, that's not quite right. Let's see. Attempt to install the rewrite AMD 64 EN. Let's see if that's working. Rewrite AMD 64 English US. Setup successful. Well, maybe that wasn't a executable file. Let's see. What did we just try and do? We just tried to do... That's working just fine. That's not too good. What did we miss here? Unless this lab's not working. I'm going to say yes. It's going to tell us we were wrong. But we were able to do it. So what do you want us to say, lab? Okay, so what did we miss here? Tools, groups, policy management. Is AppLocker running? I guess that's my question. Wonder if I did this one. Configure application identity service to automatic startup mode. I think I did. Let me double check. Something here we might have missed. Let's see. That would be in group policy management. Oh, this is not enforced. Let's say enforced here. Okay, let's try this again. Now we got to refresh this, I believe. Where did we... I'm not sure if it told us to enforce that. If that's not enforced, then it definitely won't work. I think we have to refresh it, but let me just try this. Ah, here we go. Yeah, it wasn't being enforced. So part of the... Let's try this again. Let's try the same thing we were supposed to do here. The AMD What were we doing? AMD, yeah, rewrite AMD 64. Let's try writing that. Nope, that's working. That's a Windows installer. I can't access this. Can't access this. But I can install. So this is partially working. I think it's important to be able to, well, actually, is this one working? Yeah, okay, this one's not working. So I think because we already installed these before it was enforced, it's letting us do it. Let's try logging. Let's try restarting this. It's important, I think, to, if you encounter a problem in the labs, it's important to troubleshoot the labs, because you're not going to do it flawlessly most of the time. So if you encounter a problem, it's very helpful to troubleshoot that problem for yourself. Otherwise, you become too reliant on the instructions. The instructions should be, I mean, they're a good guideline, but you should be able to think independently of the instructions. You don't want to just be blindly following the instructions, because that's not how it's going to work on the job. You got to be able to think dynamically. So it's important to try and troubleshoot that. And I think the main thing that was going on was the policies weren't being enforced. So if the policies weren't being enforced, then they weren't going to work. And I think this is starting to work here, because we're getting errors for different policies. Now let's see if we can install anything again. I can't do that. Block this program. And then let's do rewrite AMD. I want to try installing that again. I'm not sure if that's going to work this time. Yeah, that works, I think, because we already installed it. I'm not sure why. Let's try removing it, and then I'll try installing it again. Okay, well, I'm going to be honest here. We were successful, so I'm not trying again because that was right. Let's try putty.exe. This one, I think this one we tried, it didn't work, so let's try that again. After we enforce the policy, system administrators block this program, so we weren't successful there. Attempt to open confidential.txt file from lab files. Let's try that. Yes. I mean, that wasn't affected because we said this were executable files that we wanted to block. Display the CompTIA log.jpg image from lab files. You mean CompTIA logo? Probably. Yes. CompTIA logo. Now it's green. It's Christmas. All right, anyway. Good job. So we were able to do these. That's fine. I think copy the rewrite AMD and putty.exe files to the desktop. Yeah, if we do it from the desktop, we should be fine. So let's just do that as an example. Let's just do putty. Now we can access it just fine. And then we should be able to do that from the desktop. So, all right, pretty good job. So we were able to troubleshoot what was happening. We needed to execute that or enable that policy that we created. I don't know if we missed the step to enable the policy or if it wasn't in the labs. Sometimes the instructions aren't super clear, so it's good we do these. And let's answer our comprehensive questions. You want to answer in the chat? Please, I invite you to chime in. Just answer 1, 2, 3, or 4 in the chat. Which of the following answers best describes the steps you took in this activity? Configured new technology file system permissions to block access for all users to run.exe and MSI files. Use group policy to block access for users to all labs and /C lab files folder. Use group policy to block access for all users to run exe and MSI files in lab files folder. Or use group policy to block access for all users except administrators to run .exe and MSI files. On Sam, you're taking your Security Plus in a couple weeks. Hey, best of luck. You know, if you're looking for, I wish you the best of luck with your exam. I'm glad the videos are helpful for you. Be sure to go to the site and get our Ports and Protocols study guide. It's free to download. It definitely will help you with your studies. Okay, so I'm seeing YouTube, Discord. I'm seeing 3s. Yep, that's correct. We basically blocked access to run exe and MSI files. So it's very good. Does the app blocker policy remove existing software? 1 or 2? YouTube, Discord, 2s. Yep, 2s. Does not remove installed software. Yes, it uninstalls. It's kind of confusing. Yes, it uninstalls unauthorized software. No, it does not remove installed software. Does app blocker policy remove existing software? Oh, okay. It's kind of a confusing question. A lot of double negatives there. But yeah, great job. Fantastic work. This is really kind of a tricky lab that we had to pay attention to, did some troubleshooting, but fantastic job.